The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
This is Haymaker Combat Sports. Here, coming straight from the source. Only with the real, they ain't here to dress it up. Sweet Science MMA, you can get it all from us. Trust, 5 stars cause it's live. And through the fight game, we can guide ya. Slick talking, putting them in caution. Passing all the goals cause the audio is awesome. What you waiting for? Spread the word, tell a friend. This the podcast where all of the discussion ends. When they start going strike for strike, this the show that'll tell you what you seen in the fight. They ain't playing on the mic, this a welcome to the show. Warm it up for the squad, Haymaker of the bros. I'm a bow wow, you can hear it from the pros. It's Haymaker Combat Sports, time to roll.
Welcome back to Haymaker Combat Sports, powered by the Belly Up Sports Media Network. I'm your host, EJ Reed, joined by my fellow hosts, Steve Johnson, Chris Sanders. What's going on, fellas?
Everything's good, man. Holiday season. Come on now. Christmas is coming. Everything's good.
Yeah, like Chris said, happy holidays to everybody. We got Christmas for around the corner for everybody that celebrates, and Hanukkah. I think Hanukkah's still going on, so don't quote me. Apologies for my ignorance if it's not going on still, and Kwanzaa and all the holidays. So happy holidays, just to have a blanket statement. Yeah, man, full effect. So I teased it on the last MMA show we did. I said I didn't want to talk about it, but we got a newly married man on the show, man. Chris Sanders.
Yeah, did it. Thank you. Yeah, we did it. We did it right. Cancun. You know?
Yeah. So I kind of wanted to get into kind of more details now that we got the man on there. So we're gonna hold off until he gets on the show to kind of tell it from his perspective.
Yeah.
So I got there that Friday. What date was that actually? I want to get the days mixed up.
The 6th. I believe you got there on the 6th.
Yeah, I got there on the 6th. What day did you get there?
I got there the day before. So I was there on the 5th.
So you got there that Thursday.
Yeah, I got there Thursday early.
So I just got to kind of, because we got to talk, but we didn't get to really chat for extensive periods of time because you were the man of the hour, so you had a lot of things to cater to. So when you got there Thursday, what all did you get done?
I mean, getting there was wild. So I mean, this is my first time doing it big. So we did first class to get there, but we had a layover in Texas. But we missed the layover in Texas. It's funny because we stayed actually in the airport, but we rented out a room. But I didn't realize how far distance it was. So when I had them call us for the room to get ready to get to the area to depart, I'm like, oh yeah, we're right in the airport anyway. All right, we're ready to go. And they're like, no, you're not gonna make it. So we missed that flight going into Cancun. But due to the fact that we have first class, they treat us well. They got us on the next thing, smoking out in 30 minutes. So we got to Cancun. It was beautiful, great weather for the whole time. And it was magical because a lot of my friends, a lot of family pulled up. So, it was half and half. So it was like close to 85 people there. So, trying to give my time to everybody was tough, trying to do things she wanted to do, try to do things I wanted to do, and then get the wedding stuff done. That was really tough, but it was fun. It was good because actually the first time my East Coast family met my new West Coast family, because her family's from the West Coast, my family's from the East Coast. So it was the first time they actually met each other besides telephone calls. So it was really cool, really get that off.
That's what's up. And I know Friday you probably had to get stuff done as far as like getting everything together and whatnot. But did you get to do anything of leisure at Friday, at Saturday, leading up to Sunday's wedding?
I mean, just hanging. It was a lot of people's first time out the country. A lot of people's first time, even going into a resort. So we wanted to hang up as much as possible. We did go out into the town at night. But for the most part, we try to keep it into that hotel, try to be there with everybody. New people were coming in every day, every hour, it felt like. So we'll just try to be at the front and try to meet people, just like I met you when you came to the front, just trying to hang out with people. Like I told everybody, that was the only weekend, only 4 days that drinks and food was on me. No one had to worry about nothing. I'll take care of everybody. You know what I'm saying? It was all on my tab. Just let everybody know they knew me. Y'all were in good shape. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so when I got there that Friday, I had a shuttle to my hotel. I stayed about because Chris was staying at the resort where it was like 5-star security. It was hard to get on there, and I kind of got my spot last minute, so I was like 5-minute drive from where he was staying at, but it was still not as nice as Chris, of course, but it was still a pretty decent spot I was at. And so I got the shuttle. Shuttle took a little bit to, pick me up. No, I didn't wait too long. I was like 15 minutes after, I got from the airport for the shuttle to get there. And then I got to the spot. That was like a 30-minute drive. Mm-hmm. And then I got there a little bit early, man. I got there like between noon and 1. They're like, you can't check in until 3. So I'm like, man, what am I supposed to do for the next 2 hours? So I just walked around for a little bit and got me a food spot. They had the Wi-Fi there, so I was just eating slow, eating my tacos, and just waiting for myself to check in. And then I checked in and went on the beach for a little bit and just hung out in the room. And then, like you said, the next day you had the get together at the spot, and they were kind of hazing me to get on the inside of the resort, but I was able to get on and do the meet and greet that Saturday. And like I said, I was able to meet the people. That was a nice thing to to get acquainted with everybody. And then the next day at the actual wedding, it was a beautiful venue, man. Like you said, perfect weather. And I appreciate you inviting me there. And it had like the nice setup. Like you said, it had one side for the bride and one side for the groom. And then, your lovely wife, Vanessa, came out and got walked down by her father, man. And they played like the Golden Hour song, man. And I saw you tear up a little bit, man. I'm not gonna lie, man. I lost it there, man. I shed a couple tears when I saw you up there. And I'm not like an over emotional person, but it was a beautiful setting, and man, it was a great wedding, man. Great wedding.
Thank you. Yeah, we wanted to set it up where we have two different groups. I'm African American, she's Mexican American, so we want to put that together. And then we in Mexico there, so to have the singers come in and have the mariachi group come in and do their thing, and then play some hip hop music and do this, like the mixture of the crowd. It was fabulous, man. It was really cool to see everybody jabbing with each other. So that was really cool.
Yeah, I got to meet your parents and your siblings and your family. So shout out to them, and also shout out your wife's Vanessa's sister Cynthia. Give her a shout out to the furniture spot. I think it's a spot out there in the West Coast. So shout out to them. I told her I'd give her a shout out. So shout out to them.
Yeah, that's where you get the good furniture. You're ever in LA area, the furniture shop, you go there. She hooks you up with a good deal. Make sure you get all the finest, newest furniture out there. So definitely go holler at her if you definitely need some furniture. That's the spot.
Yeah, for sure. Good times. So when did you get back though, man?
Man, I got back Wednesday night, early Thursday morning, back in LA, probably one in the morning, Thursday.
Oh, so you got to do like kind of like the honeymoon thing over there too, then?
In a sense, we battling about that. I mean, we're gonna probably do 2 honeymoons because she wants to go to Asia and I want to go to Africa, so it's only right to do both.
Oh yeah.
So when just like, all right, there you go, we're gonna do both. Why not? So we're gonna pull that off.
Hey, you only live once, man. You might as well pamper yourself and live it up, though.
That's true.
That's what's up. But yeah, getting back to the matter at hand, though, we got a lot going on in the boxing world. And, it wasn't too busy of a news cycle, but, this guy gets in the news. We got to talk about it because somehow he's able to transcend multiple sports. Steve's guy, Conor McGregor, back in the news, says he agrees to fight Logan Paul in India in a boxing match. And I think it's supposed to be an exhibition. This is an ESPN article. It says he intends to delay the MMA return and face Logan Paul in a boxing match in India, like I said. Not a whole lot of terms, set out in this match. But on y'all's first thoughts, what are y'all thoughts on this news? I'll start for you, Chris.
I told you last pod, guys, I'm not doing it no more.
Oh, you said Jake Paul, though. This is Logan.
The brothers, I'm done. Y'all let me know how the fight go. I'm not watching it no more. I did enough. I support as much as I could, but I can't do it no more. I just really can't. I'm watching non-fighters fight. It just hurts my eyes as a boxing fan. It does. But hopefully what will bring me in if their card's good. If they bring another good card like they did last time, then you know what? I take that back. They give me a good card under them, I'm gonna watch it. But just if they're the main and that's all, I ain't got nothing under it. Nah, I can't do it. If it's a whole bunch of YouTubers and things of that nature, they gotta bring me a good card under that.
Steve?
Yeah, that is surprising as far as how the fight would go. Saying I don't think Conor can get up there at weight, and I think Logan, he's a pretty big guy. I think he came in a lot heavier than Mayweather when he fought him. Considering we know Conor is one of a boxing specialists in MMA, but saying that he also got taken out by people who aren't even boxing experts in MMA. Poirier was one of his significant losses. I think he'll probably even have trouble because all it takes is one punch, and Logan's a pretty big dude, and Mayweather stung him, but that's what we're talking about, the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
Conor would have to really sting him, and plus he's out of like I said, I want to guess he's 180, 190. I mean, I think he's big as his little brother, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he might be bigger than
Usyk,
actually. I think he's bigger. He might be bigger.
So I think that may be a tough fight. Of course, Conor has more experience, but I think Logan has a good puncher's chance because of his body size. And I think that was the whole tempo of the Mayweather. He has a chance because he's bigger. Well, I think he has a chance because he's bigger with Conor, although the odds are very more slimmer than with Mayweather.
You think the odds are slimmer with fighting Conor than Mayweather? Mayweather's an actual boxer.
As far as like Conor,
he's talking the opposite way.
Yeah.
Okay, so you think Logan has a better chance for Conor than he did with Mayweather?
Yeah, with Mayweather. Yeah.
Okay, my bad. I got that mixed up. Yeah. If they actually make it, because like I said, nothing's set in stone. They said in preliminary talks, but if they do, we'll break it down even further. But like I said, first thought, Chris, like this is interesting because Jay could actually box him, even though, like you said, he doesn't string the punches together. If he goes in there with like an MMA dude, he's probably going to get the better of him. Logan hasn't had as many fights as Jake. He's kind of doing his thing in the WWE. Conor only had one boxing match that I know of. He may have had some exhibitions when he was, on the come up. But I don't know, Chris, how do you see this fight actually going on? Because I can't really. Well, I don't even know how this fight would go down.
I think
Logan
holds a better chance. I mean, he's going against Conor. Conor, he died out in the last fight with Floyd. I don't know how long this fight's going to be, how many rounds it's going to be. I don't even know if Conor really going to take it. I mean, every time we hear Conor about to take a fight, it's always in talk, and then he pulls out. I don't know if his mind's on that right now, but, he did go through some legal trouble, so he might have to recover some money. So he might have to get back in there. But at the end of the day, this is a tough fight for him overall. He don't really have the background of boxing as we all look at him. Yeah, he's a striker, but he doesn't really have the background of being a boxer. His guard is really open. You can touch him. You can hit him. Logan's a big guy. He's not a little guy. He let Floyd got him out of there, and Floyd's little than Conor. So Logan, he's a strong. You saw how big he is. He, one punch, he can do some damage. So I do like his chances better there than against Floyd. I do like his chances there.
Yeah, I don't know how much training in boxing Logan's doing, but we know Conor hasn't been training either. So, like you said, it's like probably another one of those circus fights. And like you said, we don't even know if it's gonna go down as much Conor pull out, but. Y'all think this is kind of a marketing strategy to kind of make people forget about his legal woes that are happening right now, Chris?
It might not be. It might be a real thing, man. He's used to having a certain. I don't know what he got hit for or what the issues is in that legal.
He's got they called him liable. He was a civil suit liable for sexual assault.
I don't know how much that cost in his bank account.
Not much. It was like $100,000 or 250,
But again, I don't know. His lifestyle very expensive. Got to keep that going. He likes expensive things. He likes doing. He likes doing nice things. And this isn't. I'm not saying it's not a hard fight for Conor either, right? If I had my pick, I'd rather fight Logan over Paul too. Because Paul's a little more active than Logan. So I mean, if there's big money there to make, if I'm Conor and I had the two to pick, and they both been calling him out, I'm sure of it. So I'll pick Logan over Paul
Jake.
too.
Logan over Jake.
Yeah, I mean Jake. Yeah, because at the end of the day, that just seems you're in less danger. He might be bigger, but you don't see him being active like that. So I'll take that fight if I'm Conor as well.
Yes, Steve. You think? Go ahead, Steve. No, go ahead, Steve. I was about to ask you.
He also said he took a small blow in court as far as financially.
Oh, he said that too. He said that too.
No, you said like in the court case, he lost only 100,000.
Like 250 or 100,000. Yeah, 250 or 100. I might be.
That's
but it wasn't that much.
The civil suit. But what about the lawyers and everything else?
That too. But also, I was talking about we can also see lately to where we might see the fight. He's been losing a lot of deals. He took it out of video game, so he might need the money.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, it didn't hurt. It didn't help his bank account getting the proper 12. He got that sponsorship taken away, and then, like you said, the video game, they took him out. But I don't think he's probably hurting for money. I thought it would be more so. This seems like a smoke bomb or a smoke distraction taken away from his legal case. So he's like, all right, let me get a fight in. I was just trying to pick your brain on that, Steve. Like, you think he's just trying to distract people from what his legal woes are happening?
I think it's all a combination. Everybody has to maneuver based off what hit him in life. He hasn't fought in the UFC or confirmed. I'm figuring he would have to make some type of plan to come back. We already know he said he's going to try to clear his name for the civil suit. Possibly he may work in that through a bout. Maybe say a speech at the end of don't let nobody lie on you. Take that type of route. Maybe he might do that.
Yeah, I definitely think he's being strategic about announcing this out of nowhere, even if it doesn't happen. They say time, quote unquote, heals all. I don't want to take away from sexual assault, but the more as time passes by, the less people will be thinking about it. So as long as he tries to put other news stories out there, the less that will pop up first when you type his name in. So I think he's trying to be strategic with that. But staying on the Paul brother topic, so Jake Paul put it out a couple days ago. Big announcement in January, boxing. So I think we talked about this when we talked about the Tyson fight, but he said he has a big announcement in January. So off the top of your head, he said it's in boxing. Just give me just a wow. It doesn't even have to be a logical prediction. What do you think he's gonna talk about as far as opponent if he says it's a big announcement? Let you kick it off, Steve. Who you think off the top of your head, if you just have to choose one person you think is gonna be
to fight Jake?
Yeah, he said big announcement coming a couple days ago on X Twitter.
I mean, it's hard to say. Highly doubt it's anybody, that we would respect. So saying that, I mean, that can be a Russian roulette, or not a Russian roulette, or a damn, spin the thing of gambling. I don't know why it went out of my head.
Russian roulette. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I think we even touched on it even in the past episodes. Like Tyson, I mean, he ran out of choices. I mean, that's the ultimate of somebody who's retired that you might get eyes to even be excited about. But who else retired? I mean, you can't do it with Holyfield or anybody, even close to there, or anybody MMA. I think we're tired of that. It's gonna have to be somebody significant, maybe still active or has a chance. And the only thing that I think people take him serious is a professional active boxer.
So with that being said, you think it's going to be a retired professional boxer, I guess?
Well, for the excitement, he can't reach Mike Tyson status after that. But I say
Yeah.
that's the best thing he can do. I don't see him going out of nowhere telling us a professional boxer he'll fight. Like I think even Chris mentioned, like why fight a professional fighter on making money, pulling in views. But I think the Mike Tyson stunt might have been his last stunt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you don't have a prediction. You just think it's gonna be
It's really hard.
He can pull from anywhere. Like, it's hard. Like, I mean, I was thinking about coming out of retirement and give Jake a few. I was
Hey,
about to contract that way. You feel me? Maybe Mayweather.
oh,
You
that'd be
know,
interesting. His brother
that
fought
you
him.
know,
That's a
I
good
heard
choice.
Mayweather talk a little crazy after the Mike Tyson fight. So that's something that could be brought up. Mayweather would take a fight like that. So I could see that. I'm available. I'm ready to come. I'm down. Yeah, I'm ready to come out of retirement. But no, I think Mayweather. That's if it's big news, boxing. I mean, where can you go from Mike Tyson? Like, think about it. Like, where can we go from there? Like, you can't either you're gonna fight a real pro. You can't do no like MMA fighter after that. You gotta go big name. So it has to be like either a retired boxer that was pretty well known. So I'm going Mayweather because he's still in that realm of fighting people. So I think there.
So Chris thinks Mayweather. I could see that happening. Like they could set up the storyline. He's trying to avenge, his brother's loss, even though that was an exhibition. I don't think that got stopped, but everybody knew that Mayweather smoked them, even though they didn't have an official scorecard. I'm gonna go off because this guy challenged them like a couple weeks ago, maybe even before the Tyson fight. I'm thinking it's gonna be like a Roy Jones Jr.
I don't know if it brings the same element that Mike brings.
Oh, it won't. It won't bring that same hype, but people will be like, Roy's a little bit younger. I think he's gonna get him as long as we get to see the old Roy, even though we
Yeah,
won't.
I mean, I can see it happening. I don't know. Yeah, because Roy was talking that night, like he did want some smoke that day. So I can see that.
Roy wants that bag though. Like he doesn't. I don't think he really cares about winning or not.
And I hope he hears this too. I'm ready to come out of retirement. Just give me 2 months. We can get it done in February or March. I'm ready. Let me know. I
Man.
still run every day, so we good.
That's what's up. Chris Sanders putting his hat in the race, so
Hey, come on, might as well.
let him get the bag, Jake. But if I say if it's an active fighter, I'm gonna say he's gonna try to run it back with Tommy Fury. If it's an active fighter, because he lost that fight.
Yeah. I haven't heard nothing about Tommy. Has he even been fighting?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
He's scheduled to fight Darren Till, if I'm not.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but I think that didn't they scrap that? But then they scrapped that. I remember the fight fell through though.
They might have.
I don't know if they ever rescheduled that. So maybe.
I think they're fighting January 18th, if I'm not somewhere around there.
Well, that's why we have things to look this up.
I haven't seen. Let me look on his.
I see if they rescheduled that.
But yeah, no, I don't know. Jake there's a lot of pools to go through because he's who he is, So there's a lot of people willing to fight him, but that Mike Tyson was so big. I don't know besides Mayweather, I don't know what can you really bring more people to watch you especially after what we saw. It's either got to be a real fighter or someone like Mayweather, I think, from my end. I don't know if Roy Jones is going to do it. I don't know if that's going to really sell.
So going back to Tommy Fury, he pulled out of the fight. It was like you said, Chris. Excuse me, like you said, Steve. It's supposed to happen on the 18th of January, but on the 6th of December, Tommy pulled out of the fight. So maybe this is saying he might fight Jake Paul, because his reason was that he says if Till started losing the fight, he thinks Till gonna resort to MMA tactics. So he pulled up. That's why he pulled out of the fight.
So he's another one that's fighting MMA fighters all the time too. He's not fighting real
Nah,
boxers.
this is the first time I'm hearing Tommy ever fight a MMA guy,
Okay.
but I'm guessing he's resorting to like trying to drum up, publicity and hype. So he wanted to fight the MMA guy this time. I don't know. Actually, I don't even remember this. Like you said, you didn't really hear much about him after the Jake Paul fight. He did fight one fight after that. It's been a year though. That was in 23 October. He fought KSI, which is a YouTuber. So
Come on, guys. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
he won.
He's in the same belt with them guys, because I'm pretty sure the guys he fought before them were nobody special either. So no disrespect to T, man. Get your money, It's the time.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see what this big announcement is, and once it happens, we'll talk about it in the show. But speaking of actual legit fights, Tank Davis is scheduled to fight Lamont Roach in the title fight that got rebooked. So I feel like Tank Davis, he's known more. He got past being known as like by the hardcore fight fans. More casual people tune in to watch his fights. Like I think like they got 1 million buys with him and Garcia. So is this the year that because he only fought once this year? Do you think this is the year that he breaks past and becomes like the actual face of boxing? I'll let you start it off, Chris.
No, I think he's picking and choosing who he fights. And because of that reason, I don't think you become the face of boxing of that. He doesn't care about titles, He shows he's a showman. He gives us a good show to watch. I got no hate against him, but there's fighters that that he needs to be fighting. Like no disrespect to the kid he's fighting against, but this is my first time hearing him, and I know he got a good record. I've seen his record. I checked it out real quick, but it's my first time really hearing him. We got fighters for Tank that we want to see him fight against, and until he gets to the Stevens and the Haneys and all them other guys. We're looking at Tank almost like you're leaving fights on the table for us. Those are the fights we want to see Tank do. We want to see Tank knock those guys out. We want to see Tank fight them, or if he struggles against them, we want to see those. And I think that would set him apart from the legacy. But these fights that he's taking, no disrespect to his opponents, but he's a showman, so we're just watching him. But we really want to see the real fights.
Steve, what do you think? Could this be the year that the Tank becomes the face of boxing?
I could say so. Just based off the like Chris said, the amount of people they fought, if they can achieve this status compared to the people in the past, like it was like death row, top 5 people you had to go, and they were trading back and forth. And it seems like all these champions have a new fighter to fight. None of them are known. And then they disappear once they knock them out. Like that's what I've noticed about this newer generation, especially lately. I've been paying attention to boxing. There's barely anybody passing back and forth the belt in the same weight class. And I guess people who are boxing connoisseurs, they still keep that old history and to see who is the greatest, or going into that status to being the greatest of all time. If I'm not mistaken, he's 40 something.
Tank Davis?
Yeah.
I don't know if he's got that much fights.
30 or
he might got 30.
30 something.
Yeah, he might got 30. I don't think he got that many fights. He got a lot of knockouts, but not that many fights. I'm sure what is it, like 33 and something? I'm sure something like that. I don't think he got 40 fights.
He's 30-0.
Okay.
30.
And that's another thing. It's like I can't remember. See if I remember on top of the head, but are these fighters as active as these other? I mean, maybe that's what it is. You look at a lot of these other fighters; they were, if I'm not mistaken, probably 80 and something before they lost. A lot of these older fighters, and you're just not hearing that. So I think it's just conflict of what the old model used to be and how much you fight and who you went to fight, who was in front of you versus, you really have to be on the radar to see what these new dudes that this top fighter is fighting. To me, my opinion.
Yeah. To piggyback off that, like there's just too many belts now, too. There's way too many belts where, I can have this belt, I can fight who I need to fight, or I don't care about fight. I can fight once a year, and it's too much money. Let's just talk about that. And that's great. I love that there's money in the sport, and these guys are making money because they're putting their life on the line. But, it's hard to tell somebody to fight 4 to 5 times a year when you're making 20, 15, even 5, 2 million. Like, you're kind of set. Like, why am I going to get back in there and run it back? So that's where it's different when you don't need that extra paycheck, and Tank's in a good space. So him fighting once a year, I mean, Mayweather was fighting once, maybe twice a year, and he didn't care about the belts. He was just beating everybody in. I think though, like I said, with Tank, for him to take over, he's gonna have to fight the Stevensons. He's gonna have to fight the Haneys. He's gonna have to fight those guys that we all know that are threats. These guys that we don't hear of. We hope they're threats, but this guy he's fighting against, I think, is 29, 28-0. Like, he's not fighting nobody that's a chump, but we just never heard him on a big stage. So we're looking at him as a B-level fighter. Tank's an A-level fighter, and we didn't want to see him fight other A-level fighters. But this kid got a good shot. Undefeated, I believe, or maybe got one loss, if not mistaken. But yeah, he's pretty good. He's solid. He's pretty good. But he's not a big name yet, and this could make him a big name. Just what happened with what's his name that Tank fought? What's that Mexican kid that Tank fought?
It wasn't Garcia, was it?
No, the other one, the one that Pitbull. You fight a guy like Pitbull. No one really knew Pitbull from a hole in the wall. Pitbull showed out a good case, and now he's out there to get other big fights. So this is a big fight for this kid, and this is what's going to show. Like, if he can show us a good fight with Tank, then that opens the door for him to fight other good fighters. So even if he doesn't win against Tank, if he can pull off a Pitbull where we're like, I don't know, this look kind of shaky, then we can see something from him. So hopefully he has that outcome.
Yeah, like you said, Roach is a good fighter. He's only lost 29-1. So yeah,
Pretty
we'll
good
see.
fighter.
But I'm with Chris though. I don't think this is his year to finally make the leap and become the face of boxing. I think it's Canelo's to have as long as Canelo, stays in it, and that doesn't start losing. But I think Tank has the potential to do it. But like Chris said, I don't think he's gonna go the route to where he, takes that mantle over. Because I think to do that, like Chris said, he's gonna have to start fighting, going through that gauntlet and fighting Shakur Stevensons and fighting Teamofimo and Devin Haney. I think if he does that like within a calendar year and beats all of those, I think he can become the face of boxing. But it's all about picking and choosing and more strategic. And the promoters, unfortunately, they go for the bag and try to delay these fights instead of letting fighters be as great as they can be. But if he were to do that in the calendar year, like fight all those guys and win, I think he would become the face. But I don't think that's happening. Like he's starting off the year by not fighting one of those guys. He's fighting. No disrespect to Lamar Roach, but not a known name. So yeah, I don't think he becomes the face, but he can. But the clock is ticking, man. He's not like a spring chicken. I think he's like 27 or 28 now. So
he's already been flirting, talking about retiring already too. He's already brought that out to the media, talking about he wants to retire, and like 5 to 6 fights, I think before that was like 2 years ago, something like that. I heard him mention it not recently that he's thinking about retiring. So, 30 fights is a lot of fights too.
Yeah.
A lot of fights on your body, a lot of training. I'm pretty sure he made so much money where he wants to just sit home. Probably got kids, wanted to sit back and chill and enjoy himself. So it's something to look at.
Yeah, definitely. But we'll see. It's interesting to see who does, take that mantle of face of boxing once Canelo starts going down. Because I think Canelo, he's probably gonna be flirting retirement soon. I can see him doing it 2 years, 3 max, and then hanging it up. And Terrence Crawford, he's 37, 38. So it's gonna take one of those like Gen Zers to step up the plate and see, who takes that mantle. And I'm curious to see what happens with that. But let's get into some quick hits, though, fellas, as far as fights that happen in between the the previous shows, and we had a fight happen back on. It was right after the Jake Paul fight and Mike Tyson fight. This happened on November 16th. We had Gilberto Zerudo Ramirez defeating Chris Balaam Smith for the WBA. He retained the WBA cruiserweight title and won the WBO cruiserweight title in a unanimous decision. And this was a good little back and forth fight. I mean, I feel like the cruiserweight division is the weight division that people kind of sleep on, but it's the bigger fighters. And I like the cruiserweight division. That's where Usyk came up from, because it's like it's the bigger fighters throwing blows. And early on in this fight was like fought in the phone booth. Like they were both getting it in, and then later on, Zordo started picking them off and started, doing whatever he wanted and cruised to the unanimous decision. What were your thoughts on this one, Chris?
Well, I didn't realize he fought Bivol. Did he fight Bivol?
I think so. I think he did fight. I think
his only loss. That's his only loss. I didn't realize how many. This guy got almost 50 fights. He's like 47, 46, and one loss. But which was interesting because I was watching this fight, and some of that background in the ring, it didn't look like it there. He was fighting Chris's fight. He was in the phone booth. He didn't look like his defense didn't look great to me. They both defense didn't look great. I feel like every punch they were throwing, even their hands was up, they could slip the guard. It felt like they were still hitting each other, even with their hands up blocking. It's still like they could touch each other. It was definitely fun on the phone booth. Good fight. But I was impressed. I mean, glad he got I'm definitely impressed that they was able to this combination hitting each other in a phone booth like that. I was like, wow, this is interesting because when we got the defense like that, you think that people can't split the guard, but they was splitting the guard. They was getting right to it, hitting each other in the face. It was very action right there. But he came out with the win. There's big things for him. He is pretty old. He's been in this for a long time. This is not his first time winning the belt, right? He won a belt before. I'm not mistaken.
Because he retained it, so this isn't his first.
Yeah, so this now he just moves up to the next step, and let's get his career going. This is not a bad loss from Chris. Chris, he fought he still got time. I mean, he's a little old too, but he still fought a good fighter, and he can still go on for this. It's like his first loss, so it's good for both. It was good for boxing right there. That was a good fight.
Steve?
Well, from what I saw, it was an action-packed fight. Like you said, in the phone booth. I just noticed about Ramirez. I've noticed he was more technical, more slicker in the pocket. Kept his hands up more than I thought. What's the other fighter's name?
Chris.
Chris. Yeah, CBS. Chris Billum Smith.
Yeah.
Chris Smith.
And do sneaky shots like pretend you're getting rest, on the shoulder, and then boom, just go up with a hook. He laid many of them. I think a lot of the more cleaner shots, although Chris got some off too. And as the round started going further, you just see Ramirez getting combinations off more frequently, especially more than Chris. Like I said, I'm more of knowing these fighters that are known, but just now that I'm diving into new fighters that I didn't know was on the radar, I mean, a lot of these fighters that I'm studying now are pretty impressive. So Ramirez did a good job as far as staying, I think, more pointed and stay out of getting hit more dramatically than Chris.
Yeah, for sure. I enjoyed it. Like you said, it was a good back and forth fight, and it's a good fight to put your cruiserweights on people's radar. So we'll see what Ramirez gets next as far as his opponent. But let's talk about two fights that happened back on December 7th. The first one was in the featherweight division. Rafael Espinoza defeated Robeisy Ramirez for the WB. He retained the WBO featherweight championship by second round TKO, and this was an odd finish. So in the beginning, somewhere in the sixth round, he I think it was a left jab to the face, and then after that, what's his face? Ramirez put his hand down. He was like, no, no, no. And they called it off as a TKO. And you hear the commentators, they said Ramirez was saying that he got hit with an elbow in the previous round and
throughout the fight, yeah.
Yeah, throughout the fight, and he got that jab to the eye. He just said he couldn't take it anymore. What do you think about this weird finish? Because it looked like Ramirez kind of quitting there, Chris.
He, this is a rematch, if I'm not mistaken. They fought.
It's a rematch. Yeah,
it's a rematch. He was getting outboxed this one. I don't think he came with a good game. I didn't see the first one, but I know the first one went to a decision. This one, he looked like he was getting outboxed. He looked like he couldn't get to, even though he was catching some good punches here and there, just looked like he was getting outboxed. And I just think I didn't see the elbows. I got to pay attention. I got to watch it again until I heard about it. I was like, wait, there was elbows? Let me check that out. But it looked clean. It looked like a good shot to the face. Hands where he went in for a punch, missed the punch. He slipped it and then popped him right in the eye. Got him. Took that pain and kind of got out of there. It was kind of weird because, again, it wasn't like his eye, he couldn't see. I don't know. Maybe he did see double vision. Maybe he had to give up. I don't know. But it looked like he could still fight. So I thought when I first saw, I thought something happened to his elbow. I thought he extended too far because he's so short. When you fight someone and you're smaller than him, you got to do a little bit extra to get to him. So I thought that he messed up his arm trying to get to him because he extended too much out of place where he couldn't just jab back in. So I thought he injured himself. But to hear that, I was like, it caught me off by surprise. But it was a good fight for what is it? His name's Ralph?
Rafael Espinosa.
Yeah. It was a good fight for him. I just wish to see Rafael a little bit more busy throughout the year and fight some really, no disrespect to his opponent, but he hasn't fought really nobody. No, he's still 30, maybe 31 or so, but seeing his fight, seeing his record, and watching the people he's fought against, he really haven't fought no big name. I know there's probably no big names at that weight class, but still, like no one has. He's not really competing against. Even the fighter he fought against is not on his level. Like he's probably like a C-level fighter. He's like supposed to be a 5-level fighter. So just watching that, it's like he needs to fight some heavier opponents on that scale.
For sure. What are your thoughts, Steve, on this weird ending to this one?
Yeah, I can. Probably a lot of people saying he's making excuses, wanted out of the fight. Definitely a size difference in the ring. I remember one of the first, second rounds, one of his good shots he did get off is a counter of a right, and that is the one that lost. What's his name?
It was excuse me. It was Ramirez. Robese Ramirez.
Yeah. So he looked like in the beginning of the rounds, like he can be up to par, footwork and staying with it as far as not looking outmatched. And then I guess dude started putting his length on him and started smothering him, and he caught him with that right. And I don't even think the actual let's say the whoever was showing the fight, I don't think he can find the replay of the elbow or if it even happened. I think maybe he did get hit the previous round, and then I think they were even talking that they say, let's see what happens in this round, the next round, and he got hit in the eye pretty good, and he said that was enough. That's what I think more of what happened. I think he probably severely damaged or swelling it, and he probably felt the pain that he didn't like that. To me, I felt like his eye compared to other people who fought. Damaged face. I mean, to me on the outside looked like he could have fought, but I'm not in the ring, so I can't say that myself.
Yeah, well, who knows what kind of will the fighter has to continue, or maybe he's really messed up. I guess it's for him to answer whether, I guess, if he wants to tell the truth or not. But it was definitely interesting into that fight. But let's talk about this next one before we talk about the fight that happened yesterday. Emmanuel Navarrete defeated Oscar Valdez for the WBO super featherweight title, 6th round, and He retained that title. 6-round KO to be more specific, and
dropping him on that.
he was just taking it to him this whole fight. It was a one-sided beatdown, and then that 6th round, left hand to the body, dropped him, and he couldn't get back up before the 10 count. What were your thoughts on this one, Chris?
This is a big fight for him, because I think he's coming off a loss. The other one was like a decision, so he's coming off not 2 good wins, and then I believe prior to that, this is a rematch.
Yeah, it's another rematch.
Yeah, he won. So in the last 4 fights, in the 4 fights, he fought him 4 fights ago or 3 fights ago, and it came to decision. So he didn't want this one. I think, the riffraff of, not being able to take him out and being that it was a close fight, the first one. He wanted to make sure this second one wasn't close. And this is why I love second fights, because it shows how much you learn from the first time you fought him. What can you change up and show different? So he showed up and changed different. Like, hey, we're not on the same level. We're not on the same playing ground. I don't know what happened that first one. He did win the first one, but this time he dominated. He figured him out, and he had nothing.
Steve?
Yeah. I don't want to say he didn't have defense, but for what his fighting style looked like he was fighting the whole time. Like somebody told him it was the last round. This is what's gonna make it. Like literally throwing punches at him without too much concern of him striking. Because I think he knew his opponent. After a few rounds, I think he felt some of those punches to where he can just wail on him and get on top of him, because he was swinging. Not saying he didn't have defense, but he sure did look like he was, swinging to get him out there without no concerns too much of his power, or not saying he didn't have defense, but his counters too. But I don't know what's his nationality again?
Mexican.
Like I was saying, he fought like a Mexican style. From what I saw.
Yeah, he did. Just like you said, he was just throwing with bad intentions. Like I said, this is a rematch, so he already knows this guy. He already fought him. So, once he got comfortable in there, he was just throwing like he gave up on defense at one point. I just seen his hand just flying. I saw hands over here just flying, face wide open. I'm like, wow, he ain't even worried about. I'm like, yo, he better be careful. He can get stick. But when you fought somebody before and you kind of understand how they fight. And I think it's more proven to him, like, hey, me and you are not on the same. I know I won by decision, but I'm making sure this time I'm not winning by decision. He showed off. He was dropping.
Yeah, and like you were saying earlier, Chris, he did lose his last fight, but I guess he dared to be great. That was for a vacant lightweight title, so he went back down to super featherweight. So maybe this is the weight class he should stay in for a while. Maybe the jump was a little bit too much for his last fight, and he went back and defended the belt that he had in the lower weight class. So
I get it though. Them tacos, what I mean? Tacos, you don't want to lose that weight. You just want to go up in weight. You don't want to lose weight, but you get all them tacos. You know what I'm saying? So that's what happened.
Yeah, man. When I was down there, I was eating tacos too, so I don't blame him. So yeah, it's definitely interesting, but let's move on to the fight that went down in Saudi Arabia over this past weekend. Oleksandr Usyk defeating Tyson Fury in a rematch. Unanimous decision, 116 to 112 on all judges' scorecards. So round one, both guys had their moments, but I think Fury edged Usyk out. And then round two, Usyk started going to the body a little bit more. Round three was more so like a sparring session. No single shot really changed that round. It could go either way. And I think round four, Usyk edged it out by those 2 big left hands that he landed. And then in round 5, you started seeing Fury doing Fury things. He started trying to lean that body weight into Usyk. And I'm like, okay, here we go. And it was a good bounce back round for him. And then round 6, towards the end of the round, Usyk rocked Fury 3 times with some 3 big left hands. So that's when the fight kind of changed. Then round 7, I gave the Usyk. Round 8, I gave the Usyk. Round 9, I gave the Usyk. and I pretty much gave Usyk the last 3 rounds after that too. I think round 10, Usyk finished strong. The edge Fury out. I think that was a close round. And then I gave round 11 to Usyk too. And then I gave close round to Usyk. And I guess the judges pretty much, agree with me because, like I said, he won 116 to 112, which means he got 8 to 4 rounds. I think Fury got some of the earlier rounds. So pretty decisive win for Usyk in this rematch. What were your thoughts on this one, Chris?
Yeah. Well, Fury after the fight talking about he won this fight.
That's what he said. Because
Yeah.
he left the ring after, because I watched the
Well, I'm talking the post fight.
Yeah, private conference. I didn't want to watch all that.
Watching a little bit of it. I guess as a fighter in the first fight, watching it and then watching this one, I could see how he felt like he kind of won this one in a sense. Well, he did better. Let me just say that. I don't think he won, but he did better. So for him, he feels like he won because he wasn't as being dominant. What's the opposite? Yuri wasn't being. Oh, what's the guy's name?
Usyk.
Usyk wasn't being dominant on him like he was in the first one. But
I thought the first one was a little closer than this one, to be honest.
I feel like this one's pretty close. Honestly,
really? Okay.
I did feel that this one. I was watching. I was like, I feel this is pretty close because the defensive wise. But the issue I had with Fury is he didn't throw enough punches. Right, the little jabs. They weren't power. Like the power punches came from the opposite side. He didn't really throw no power punch unless you talk about the uppercut. Right, the overhand, the big punches that he throws wasn't there. He kept them at bay a lot with the jabs, but the big punches wasn't landing for him. And then when it got close, he wasn't busy. The other fighter was more busy. He was getting little taps here in the stomach, little punches here. Every time Fury was throwing 1 or 2 punches, his opponent was throwing 3 or 4. So he was getting out power punch. Yeah, he probably threw more jabs or whatever the case is, but it didn't. Like you said, like you saw it, how we saw it. I think Fury's just looking at it that his defense was a little bit better. He performed a little bit better. So in his mind, he felt like he did better, but he didn't win the fight.
Steve?
To me, I thought after the whole entirety of the fight, I thought Usyk won, and I'll agree with you, Chris, because what I was going to say is Fury's style, unless he's winning and gathering up those points or get a significant knockdown, I don't think his style lets him come back. As far as like in the scorecards, he has to wait for a counter. Usyk was ahead of the game as far as getting his punches off. And if somebody's getting their punches off and having a better night and you're waiting for the counter, I mean, you're just getting behind more and more on the scorecards because you can't get your punches back, which I think essentially is just basically what happened to him. Like Chris said, after he gets a big straight left down the pipe, and judges are saying, ooh, the whole damn crowd saying, ooh, popping jabs and hopefully getting an inside uppercut. Those opportunities I saw didn't open up as much times as it usually would for him, because I think Usyk fought a smart fight. To me, it looked like Usyk got the better and stronger punches in.
Yeah, like I said, pretty dominant win by Usyk, and what can you say? He's the king of the heavyweights right now. So looking forward, as far as big names, there's still fights out there that you can make as just as name value, because he still hadn't fought Joshua or Wilder, but it's really no need for him to fight those guys because it's not their name value isn't. Their name value is still up there, but their records wouldn't be indicative of you fighting them right now. So, what do you see next for Usyk right now, Chris?
Well, he's a top dog right now. He can do whatever he wants. They could run this back for the third one. Nobody want to see that. Right? But if you think about, does Joshua or Wilder want to fight him?
They don't deserve it, though. I don't think you could.
No, But like it's all about selling, right? You got to sell the ticket too. He's a big shot. He can sell the ticket, but who else is there? Who else is there to
Well,
help?
after the fight, we saw Daniel Dubois get in there. Daniel Dubois just got a big victory over Joshua, but
That's a good one.
last year, was it May or so of 2023? Usyk just knocked Dubois out in 2023. So
Saying so, it's like he's a top dog. He right now enjoy this win. He not shocked the world. First time he won, shocked the world. This time he cemented his legacy. Like, hey, there ain't no question between me and no more. That's over with. So he's a top dog. I think everybody now got to bark up his tree. He gets his pick. So I don't know who wants to fight him though. He's small enough, he's quick enough, and he's strong enough. Who really wants to fight him at the heavyweight? He's pretty tough fighter right now, and he's very confident right now. So a lot of them big guys are not fast. He's fast. He can put punches together. He almost gives me like a better version of Rudy. That could put punches together because Rudy's pretty fast for a heavyweight. So yeah, he top of the line right now. He's top dog.
Steve, what do you think might be next for Usyk?
Like I said, that Tyson Fury was prospect of getting that rematch. The person that hasn't lost, his first one gave Fury a loss. Rematch solidified it. Everybody down there has losses, but I wouldn't count them out because if recollecting back in the day, if Marquez can get 4 fights out of Pacquiao, and I think he was on top of the world, and everybody said why, fight him that many times, especially I think the 4th time. I mean, maybe that was a different era, but hey, if you need the money and there's nobody else to fight, I can say those people can be valuable choices. Maybe I don't see any other prospects or anybody talking about anybody new that's coming up, even with close to his record to even challenge him, let alone the ones that's close enough that we know. So I like I said, the ball's in his court, and I really wouldn't know who he would fight next. I would have to do some study to see who's prospects right now or up and coming contenders for the belt.
Yeah, I say just don't do the Dubois rematch. I just say do that. Dubois got that good win over Joshua, so do that. I don't know if it'll turn out differently. Dubois on the up and coming. Like Dubois, he's no chump. He's what? I think he's like 26, 27. So maybe he needed that experience to get back on track. And I say run that back.
Would you even look that way after you lost to him the way you lost to him? I don't even think you go that route. I think you just going, you keep going left and you avoid that until you have to. This other fight, yeah, honestly.
You saying if you do Dubois?
Yeah, because the way you lost the last fight you fought this guy, you just
got knocked out.
Yeah, you go left and let him go right, and then if you meet him down the line where it's a must fight where you got to get him, then you talk to him. But right now, you enjoy this Joshua fight. You take another fight, you just keep winning and winning, building your name up, And then when they bring you up again, like, hey, you've been winning the last 8 fights, 7 fights.
That's a lot of fights. That's a lot of fights. I don't know if Usyk will still be there. So,
that's what these guys are doing now. These guys is waiting for these other guys to retire, fight them out. They're not fighting each other no more. They're just waiting for the next best opportunity, to get up there. So that's what I'm saying. If I'm in his camp, he's not going to be there that long. Just go this route, and then you'll be able to get there. You already lost to him. Ain't no point in.
I mean, yeah, it's pros and cons to that. I mean, he's fought 3 fights since fighting Usyk, and he's won all of them, and he's finished all of them. So, which one to include Big Baby Miller too. So that was a prospect that people were clamoring for. So, this is I was thinking of the other Big Baby. This is the older Big Baby, actually. So,
Which one? Big Baby Miller or the other big?
It's Big Baby Miller he fought. So that's the older one. So, I don't know, man. Like you said, it's pros and cons if he was just to try to avoid him. But he was in the ring like he wants to fight him. So I think that's the fight he wants next.
We'll see.
It'll be interesting. But talking about the other side of things, if you're Fury, where do you go from here? Retirement, or do you finally try to maybe make the Joshua fight happen, Chris?
After Joshua took an L, I don't know what you do if you're Fury. Like all the heavyweights let him so down for the Joshua fight, the Wilder fight, all the big names. They're not big no more. So it's like you've been fighting to get to these guys. Now you get to them, and now they're like they're B levels, and you're at the A now. You're like, oh man, I can't even. But there's money on the table, right? There's money to fight Joshua, right? You do that fight, there's big money there. There's money to fight Wilder, I'm sure. You do that, there's big money. I think he wins all those fights, to be honest with you. I think he's just very active. I think he's athletic. I think he's active. I think he can put punches together. I think he can he's quicker than all three of them. So I think he can get those wins.
Steve, what do you think?
Well, yeah, I can see him doing that. But I have to see how popular that dude is that knocked out Wilder. I don't know if he's getting popular.
Yeah.
Chinese fighter.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah, that's right. He is pretty good.
He's older though.
He is, but he's pretty good.
I think that would be a good matchup for Fury. I mean, just me looking at it, but as far as popularity, I don't know.
Zili Zhang. I mean, he's like a lot older though. He's 41.
Oh, yeah, pretty up there.
Wilder might be washed, lose it to somebody else like that. I don't know.
But not the Asian guy was pretty. He's always been pretty tough though.
Yeah, he lost to Joseph Parker though, and yeah, I think he got Wilder out of there though. So, but you wouldn't like to see Fury and Joshua though.
I was about to say Joshua, since the European market. I mean, that's it. I think that's his best bet.
You could
definitely
imagine putting that fight in Wembley Stadium. 90,000 will come off of that. Y'all both coming off a loss. You could sell that.
Yeah.
It's like loser leaves town match type of thing. Like whoever loses this retires. If you do him and Joshua now at this point, y'all wouldn't be, entertained by that.
Yeah, definitely. I've been saying they should get that going.
It should have been, like you said, it should have been happened. Kind of it wasn't his fault because Fury was trying to move on for Wilder, and Wilder invoked some type of weird clause and made him fight up for the third fight. They tried, but looking back at it now, I'm not taking away from anything that he did because he was the first to finally dethrone the Klitschko's during that boring reign, and they had to kind of brought heavyweight fighting down. Mm-hmm. But outside the Klitschko fights, did we kind of overrate Fury looking back on it now that we could kind of have glasses like hindsight? They say hindsight is 2020 because now that we look at it, he beat Wilder 3 times, but who's he beat outside of Wilder? Like I said, I can't take away from the Klitschko fights, but who's he beat outside of the Wilders now that we look back at it?
I mean, the Wilder fight, but that's the thing. That's what makes it different because Wilder was here, right? He was this guy knocking out everybody, and you got Fury over here was coming like, what can he do? And he's dominating Wilder, right? That's what we want to see. This is my thing. This is my Tank effect, right? We got fighters for Tank to fight, and Tank's just so dominant in all this. We want to see him fight those other fighters, see how good he really is, instead of fighting the guys that we never heard of. No disrespect to these guys, but they get a chance like Pitbull. They could be dangerous, and I'm sure these guys are dangerous, and Tank's is destroying them. But besides Ryan Garcia, like you just want to see these guys fight, and that's the problem, you know. The only thing we missed from the heavyweight was Wilder versus Joshua. I think Joshua kind of let us down there. Joshua let us down with the Fury, those big fights. You know, those are the ones I think we lost.
Yeah,
Joshua let us down.
We never seen Joshua against any of these guys. You know, we saw the only fights we saw was Wilder and Fury 3 times, and the first one was a draw. Second one, Fury won decisively, but third one, Fury kind of struggled with. Deontay had his moments, and that's what I'm saying. You think Fury's a little bit overrated because Deontay can't box. He's got that one mass destruction of right, but he can't box.
I don't think he's overrated. It's just in this era, it's hard to get. Though I'm trying to bring up the Tank stuff. It's like it's hard to get these fights going. You know, back 20 years ago, fighters were fighting everybody. You know, Roy Jones fought, Bernard Hopkins, Tony Allen, all of them fought. And then they fought each other. So we got to see who's the best out of the three. We got to see how great they are. You know, the 90s, everybody fought. When it got to the early 2000s, not everybody's fighting like that. You know, everybody's picking and choosing when they want to fight. And we might never see these guys, and we're all gonna have this conversation. Who's the best out of those three? Who's the best out of these three? Who's the best out of these 4 fighters? You know, we got too many fights that are not happening. And that's the problem.
But if you look at Usyk fought him out. He beat Joshua twice. He's beaten Fury twice now. The only one he didn't face was Wilder, but we probably know how that would go. He beat Dubois, so you could say Usyk fought them all.
That's what I'm saying. But it takes a guy like that to come under, right, to fight these guys. But the heavy hitters that we all want to see never get to fight each other. So, I mean, and that's why I don't want to take away from Wilder, Joshua, any of them saying their legacy is not, they're overrated. It's just that we didn't get the fights that we want to see. You know, we almost missed the Mayweather versus Pacquiao fight. You know, we almost didn't get that one. And that would have thought to this day, like we didn't get to see that fight. So we almost missed a lot of good fights, you know, because of this. You know, Bud's been calling out guys don't want to fight Bud for the longest, and you know, we don't know how good his legacy could have been, even though he's won all his fights. Could have been even better if they'd have took these fights.
Yeah, I can see that. But what do you think, Steve? You think Fury's legacy is a little bit overrated now in hindsight?
Honestly, we were talking about, the availability of fighters of back in the day and today, and it all depends on your perspective on, are we in a new generation of new rules to respect based off the module it is now, or keep things of the past that we call what's a GOAT status. And like you said, people worrying about losing all the time, to where people fought each other, in the past in boxing. I felt like you got a redemption pass in the past because you had all these top hitters fighting each other. So one fighter you might have lost to a fighter, but the other fighter might have beat that fighter. So you might redeem yourself from fighting the fighter that beat you by beating the fighter that beat him. You just don't see that too much no more because it's not, enough stars in one weight class. And I guess that's my perspective on, if you would call Fury the GOAT, or is he just caught a wave at a good time to accumulate those wins?
Yeah, I guess it's really kind of hard to say. Like I said, hindsight's always 2020. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like we did miss out on one of the fights. Like I said, they got blocked because they had Joshua and Fury. They had the date signed, but Wilder stepped in there and invoked his clause to get the third fight to happen. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, but I think looking back at it, when we look back at it, 20 years from the line, I think people will probably be talking about how Usyk came up a division and beat everybody who we thought were the kings of the division. So it's very impressive what he did, to kind of cement his legacy. And I'm curious to see how things will shake out in the future. But yeah, we had a good year of boxing this year. This will probably be the last show that we do for the year. So instead of looking at fights that are going to happen, I guess, in the next month or so, I just wanted to take a some time to go back and reflect on what we think is the best fighter of the year, and maybe not net best fight of the year, but the fight of the year, and then talk about maybe our favorite fight of the year. So I'll kick it off. And when I look back at it, coming back to a conversation we were talking about earlier, all of the top fighters in the pound for pound list, none of these guys really fought like that. So it's kind of hard to determine who the fighter of the year was, because if you look at a guy like Terrence Crawford, he only fought once. Tank only fought once. Canelo fought twice, but he didn't fight people that we wanted to really see. I gotta look back at Shakur. I can't. He might have fought a couple of times, but Devin Haley lost that whole debacle with Garcia. So my fighter of the year came down to two. I had Inoue up there because he's on the time found list, and I got Usyk up there. And I think I'm gonna go with Oleksandr Usyk as my fighter of the year. Because he beat a pound for pound guy twice in a year, a guy who was, almost labeled as one of the best heavyweights of all time going into that first fight. So I'm gonna give my fighter of the year to Oleksandr Usyk. He's the king of the heavyweights, edging out anyway on my list. And as far as my fight of the year, I'm gonna go back to a fight that happened back in March. I think we've already talked about this fight on one of the early shows. It was a rock'em sock'em back and forth fight happened back on March 2nd. We had Raymond Ford defeating Otabek Komotov in that rock'em sock'em match, and it got stopped like in the last 6 seconds, and he was able to win that WBA featherweight title. So I'm gonna give Raymond Ford and Otabek Komotov that fight of the year. I'll move on. I'll kick it off to you, Chris. Well, who you got your fight of the year?
Fight of the year is Canelo. This is showman, talks a lot of jump, but delivers on the fight night. The fight of the year is the ladies' fight. We just saw Jake Paul fight.
That's a good one.
Rematch. You guys know who I'm talking about.
Serrano, Katie Taylor.
That's the fight of the year to me. We can run that back again, and I think it's gonna sell. And the first one was great. The second one's even better. So I think that's the fight of the year for me.
That's a good one. Yeah, got to show the ladies some love. So I'm definitely not mad at that being your fight of the year. And I'll let you end this off, Steve.
Well, like I said, it's pretty hard. Usyk, he took down, like I said, you're just talking about the top prospects in your weight class, and not too many of these people are doing that in their weight class. So I have to give that to him, and also honors to Canelo for, like I said, he fought twice this year, so you have to give credit to that. Giving your showtime for the year more than any other fighter that is mainstream. Fights of the year. There's a few of them. Well, fight of the year. I can't think of the top of my head, but as far as I'll just say this one for boxing to solidify. It ain't no game if you want to step in there. Ngannou and Anthony Joshua.
Oh yeah. Like
not saying for a boxing perspective, like, oh, this is the best fight, but just for everybody was like, Ngannou's gonna go up in there, and then I think Ngannou's like, I'm going back to MMA after this.
Man,
true.
That was definitely because, like, after the Fury fight, people were like, "Can he do it?" And no,
I think it was almost highly anticipated if Ngannou won that, he would get, I think shot up in there in the top of fighting these heavyweights, but he took a heavy fall, and Fury must have either the style or Fury had an off day because Joshua would turn the lights off on him.
But and what you just said right there was so interesting. Prior to that, you talked about fighters fighting other fighters, and they might have lost to them. Like we saw Tyson Fury fight him, and it didn't look so good for even though Tyson won. It's like, oh wow, he got a chance to fight Joshua. Joshua redeemed his whole career by fighting him.
We gave he came off the loss before that, didn't he?
Yep, and we gave
that kind of
We redeemed his whole career, gave him back where his status is, saved boxing in a sense with how you think about it, and that's exactly what you brought up earlier. That's the whole point. Fight each other, like just keep fighting. You just never know what happens because this person could beat you, but that person, his style makes fights, right? So you get to redeem after your loss. All right, I lost to him, but I beat him and he beat him. So it just looked good because you seeing Tyson almost take an L. You're like, wow, what's going on? And then Joshua just demolished him. You're like, oh, right, this guy doesn't have no choice to beat. And then it makes other conversations come up. So. That's why we need to see these fights, man. That's why we got to see them. They're letting us down with these guys. They could be fighting each other. Don't worry about that L. We're not going to lose as fans. You're just going to gain more fans because you're a fighter.
Yeah, I agree with that. So hopefully in 2025, we can see some of the fights that we want to see be made. And I don't know what these promoters are waiting for. They see time and time again. If you wait too long, something happens where they lose or the interest just goes away. So we need to start making these fights happen. So let's get it done. 2025, we're almost halfway through the decade now. So let's make it happen, man. We're not getting any younger. So let's you get the bag and still make exciting fights. So like I said, we'll see what happens in 2025 with these fights. But that brings us to the end of the show almost. It's been another good year, so we appreciate everybody rocking with us this year, and it's been a good 2024, and we're going to try to make 2025 better with bringing more content and bringing stuff for people to enjoy. So like I said, thank y'all out there. So make sure to follow us on all social media platforms, Twitters, Instagrams, Spotify, Apple Music, and make sure y'all enjoy the holidays and have a safe New Year's Eve, New Year's. And that'll do it for us here at Haymaker Combat Sports. Until next year, be safe out there. Later.
This is Haymaker Combat Sports. Here, coming straight from the source. Only with the real, they ain't here to dress it up. Sweet science, MMA, you can get it all from us. Trust, 5 stars, cause